Hey, everybody. Welcome back. If you like the content, please like, subscribe, and give a thumbs up. Anyway, topic for the moment is I've lived in a lot of different places. I've moved many, many times, lived in different parts of the country for various reasons, largely economic, but sometimes family. And one thing I can say is because of that, I have felt like I have always been at a disadvantage. I look at folks who, and I think for the large part, and I don't have any statistics to back this up, but I'm sure we could dig some up. And maybe if I get a chance, I will post some, if I find some in the description. But anecdotally, it seems to me that many people only move a few miles from where they were born or largely grew up. Not always where you're born, but where you spend the majority of your childhood and maybe young adulthood, and never move. And I think that puts those folks at an advantage. I mean, they network. Obviously, they have large networks of friends and family, and that's an advantage for things like being a salesperson, a realtor, having your own business, insurance, things like that. Advantages that you don't get when you are, fresh to a new town. You don't have a book that you can open up and, a network of people that you can say, hey, do you need insurance? Hey, you need to buy a new car. Hey, do you want to buy a house? Or whatever it is, even other things. Similarly, if you need a job as local government usually helps to know somebody and so on, particularly for lower entry level jobs. So I have always found myself at a disadvantage in having to really scrap and claw for everything that I have achieved. Not that I've achieved a lot. I don't feel like, frankly, I feel like sometimes I've wasted a lot of my life, and maybe some of you out there feel the same way. Just a lot of time that, I could have been more productive or more focused, maybe is a better way to put it, and achieved something more than, and listen, I've had a couple of careers. My second career has lasted almost 30 years in the same industry. So, I mean, it's not like I've not done anything, but I've moved around quite a bit. I've had to move around to, achieve a little, move up the ladder, so to speak. And so that means there are disadvantages. You don't have the, if you're in the private sector, you don't have the stock options and things like that you can sort of make the big money. And if you're in the public sector, you don't stay in the same pension program. So you're kind of moving around and you're at a disadvantage where, 20 years of stock options, you can be set for life, particularly with the right company. A 25 or 30-year pension in the public sector, and you're doing all right. So there are these disadvantages, and so I think a lot of people in my generation, Gen X and even millennials now, because you're getting closer to retirement age, you've been at a disadvantage if you've moved around, if you have not stayed where your roots are. And sometimes that's not possible. I mean, there are economics being what they are. Sometimes you just can't stay in that town and really achieve anything. I think in most major metro areas, you can always kind of make do. I grew up in a very poor part of New York State, and New York State, most people, when they think of New York, they think of New York City, but New York State's quite a large state, and most of it is frankly quite poor. It's not, and so, and it's been deindustrialized. It's, a lot of it is still agricultural. Agriculture is still a big part of the state economy it is in many states, frankly. Even large states like California, Texas. I mean, agriculture, the Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia. I mean, agriculture and farmers still have a lot of political sway in all of these places, and for good reason. I mean, it's a big part of the economy. So, I didn't really have that opportunity. I had to move. I was making do. I was doing all right, but really, I just wasn't achieving what I thought I could achieve. And in the end, I don't know that I achieved any more or any less than I would have had I stayed where I grew up. Anyway, I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on the subject. Do you think it's advantageous to sort of stick to where your roots are and make do, or is it advantageous to sort of spread your wings and go out and see, try different communities, try different states or even countries? I know if I had to do it all over again, I think I would have considered going overseas and doing it that way. Certainly, there were opportunities I could have pursued that I think would have been fun, exciting, and maybe put me in a better position financially. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please, again, like, subscribe, and I will see you down the road.